today from G4 Guitar Teacher Network. What I'm going to do is give you a little bit of insight into our new application for teachers for managing their business, their timetable and so forth. It's been a fairly long project and it's still not finished, but what I just want to do today is go through with Michael, who's in Adelaide, and just sort of show him around a little bit and let you guys see it as well. And also see if we've got some ideas, if Michael's got some ideas that he wants, to be able to use it. And the idea is that it's going to make your teaching and the management of your teaching much easier, save you time, and everybody wins. So let's just have a look here and see if I can find the right screen. Hang on one second. I'll just go across to here. I'm just going to share this screen. All right. Okay, present to everyone. Okay, so can you see that now, Michael?
Yeah, that's there.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. And like I said, this is the very first kind of version of it. It's still got work to be done on it, so we're not going to get too sort of tied down on what we see here. We're just going to use it as a way of explaining. So what I've got here along the top are the different sections. So the dashboard at the moment is really just the to-do list. And I think that's an important part of running your business, is to be organizing the things that you have to do. One of the standard comments that I get from the teachers is, they feel overwhelmed or they feel disorganized or whatever. So this will organize the way that you run your business. So if we're looking here, the first thing, like I said, is the to-do list. And we have had a quick look at this before, but basically here you can sort any of these. So I can sort by priority, by category. So if I click on there, you can see it resorts the categories. So I've got employee, marketing, etc., all in alphabetical order. I can sort by due date, and I don't sort the to-do because it's not really necessary. These are the main categories. Now, along the top here, you can actually choose what you see and what you don't see. So for instance, if I want to hide everything, you see there's nothing there. But if I click any of these boxes, if I want to just see what's in marketing, then I can tick that box and it'll show me only marketing. If I want to see what's, say, marketing and sales, I can click that box as well. If I don't want marketing anymore, I can take that off. So it makes it really easy for you to sort of decide what you're going to do today, or what you want to do at the minute that you're looking at your to-do list. If you want to show them all, just click show all and it'll bring them all back up. And if you want to untick them one at a time, you can do that as well. So there's all those different ways to manipulate your data, and again, sorting it. And once you've processed it, if you want to delete it, you can delete it over here by there. Now there's also, if you want to go to a bigger screen, in other words, if we're looking at this here, the sales one here, and we want to see more information, by clicking on that icon there, it takes you to the full screen, which actually shows you the full details of that particular to-do. So if you want to put more information in here, you can type that. You've also got things like priority here if you want to change it here. It's the same things that are on the other list, except we're also including the contact name of the student. So if you want to, basically choose the student that goes on there. I know we've got, where have we got here? So let's just say here we've got David. I know David Mins is here, so I can change this to David and make it for him. And that's assuming David's my student, and I've got it to do here for it. So the idea there is that I can then add links and just do more with it. This over here, as you see, is a picture. So I'll just show you basically here. So that picture there, I can delete that. I can take that out. I can go to my desktop, which you won't be able to see, but what I'm doing here is dragging in another picture and just dropping it in there. And so that allows me to add a picture there if I like. I can also add links. So I've got two link options here, and by putting a link in there, you can see at the moment there's a little earth there, and that means that that's a live link. So if I click that, that'll take me to apple.com, and if I put it in to link 2, you see there's nothing there at the moment, but once I put the link in there, then it appears. So the icon only appears once it's there. And you can also see down here on the actual to-do list, you can see they appear over here to the right. There's also what we call a layout. So if I put a layout in there, because each layout has a name. For instance, this layout that you're looking at is called to-do list. And the layout is just a screen within this program, and that allows me to put in an actual, to take me to another layout if there's something that particular I want to do. You're probably not going to have a lot of use for that, but it's there as a function that you can use. Now, when you see this little icon here of the person next to the name, if you click on that, that will take you to their card. So it makes it easy for you if you want to grab their phone number or email address, you can just jump in there and grab that. And so going back again to the dashboard, you can see here I've got my to-do list. If I want to show all, show all. If I want to go to a particular one of these, I want to see what's in there, then I can click on that there, and it takes me to that exact information. I can type in more information here. If I want to have something more, I can put in links, etc., etc. So, Michael, does that all make sense to you so far?
Yeah. Just had a question regarding I noticed some of the to-dos were red and blue, and the dates, some of them were red, so obviously that was they're expired, I guess, or they're overdue. What were the colours for the to-do lists about?
Okay, so we can go back to the to-do list here. So basically what the colours refer to is anything that's an A priority. So if I change that to a C priority, you can see the colour changed. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So A priority is red, B priority is blue, and everything else is black.
Okay.
Yeah. So it makes it nice and easy for you to sort of focus in on what is most important. The red ones are what you want to do, and in the due date, if I change that due date to, they're all gone red because I did the math, but if I put it to the 1st of December there, you can see it goes black. So same thing. So that's anything that's overdue goes red. And I think, if I remember correctly, hang on one second. What are we today? We're the 18th. Okay, yeah. So once I change it to once it's overdue, then it goes red. Before that, it goes black. I thought I made a. No, that's all right. Okay, cool. So yeah, that all makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that at the moment it's just the to-do list on the dashboard. Have you got other things in mind for later on for the dashboard?
Yeah, what I'll put on the dashboard, I'm just thinking here that I might have things like a very quick report overview of how many students you've got, like just something that's like a dashboard of a car. That's the idea of a dashboard, is that you'll have things that are indicators, vital statistics about where your business is at, how many students you've got, maybe how many you've enrolled in the last 30 days or the last 90 days, things like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. No, yeah. Looks good.
Yeah, and that's as we sort of build out the report section. And I'll take you through each section, and then I'll sort of just see if either of you got any questions. David, Mins, have you got any questions on that?
Kind of coming in at the tail end, no, not at the moment. It makes sense.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're basically looking at the first part of this here, which is the to-do list, and right. It's very powerful, but it's kept in a way that it's very simple. So you don't want to overwhelm you with lots of things to think about, but it's simply a matter of putting your things in order. So, for example, here, if you want to put a new to-do in, you can just, all you do is you can scroll to the bottom here, and you can see that there's an empty one at the bottom there. So you might put it in here, and you might say it's an A priority, and it automatically puts in the due date as today, and you can update that as you wish. And then you might say this is to do with marketing, and it might be, Facebook webinar sign up. So you're just reminding yourself that you've got to sign up to the webinar, and it might be, by the 20th, let's say. And so that's now in your to-do list, and you just come here. The idea is that when you log in each day, you want to start here and just work through your to-dos, and eventually, hopefully clear them off as much as you can. I've even put what I call, and this is just how I think, I've put a priorities rating here, A being urgent, clear these items ASAP today, complete by the end of today, and then week, number C is week, review all by the end of the week, then D, month, E is just for ideas. And even with your ideas, I think once a month you should clear them off. You either are going to take some action on that idea, or you're going to move it to another section where it can be an idea that you review at a later stage. So you're not building. This is not building up. You want to try and empty it at the end of every month if possible.
Right. Are the categories editable as well?
If you want to add more categories, yeah, you can see at the bottom there it says edit. You probably can't see that.
No, I can't see that.
Yeah, it's not appearing. If you click on the, so some things don't show up on this for some reason, but at the bottom of the screen, it's got the edit, and you can click on that and add in more categories.
Perfect.
Cool. All right, so let's go to the contacts, and so the first thing I've got on the dashboard here is where I can add a new student. So that green button there will allow me, and that's one of the things that we obviously want to have. So when you get an inquiry, the first thing you do is you're going to click on that there, and so let's say you're on the phone and you go through your normal routine, and you just sort of try and work out where they're from. If you don't know and you can't guess at the beginning, you can just click unknown, but you can't leave this empty. The idea is that you want to fill that in, and then you can go back and look later and try and fill that in. But if you can work out where they're from, then you can say, let's say you know that they've definitely come from a flyer, you can click on flyer, and then with gender, click whoever they may be. So in here I'll put Michael. That's right there, and I'm not going to ask your age, Michael, but I'll just put in something here just to give us a number, and so I've just put in there 1990, and it works out the age. Now this, just so you know, on the age, it won't be exact to the day because of the way leap years and things. The calculation apparently is a bit tricky, but it gives you the rough age that they are. Then I can put in an email address here, and there, then followed by a phone number, and then put in parent's name, and you can change this here. So if it's actually his grandmother or whatever sibling, somebody else who's looking after them, you can do that. And then you can put a second email address, a second phone number if you want, and a Skype if you wish. You can also drag a photo in, so if you want to add a picture of them, if you've got that or whatever, you can add that as well. And then we hit finish. So any questions on that, Michael?
No, that makes sense. I don't normally ask for dates of birth. I just ask for age, but I guess that's probably worth doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because then you can do things like send them a birthday card and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and the contact relationship, does that have editable categories as well? Say it's someone other than their parents or their grandmother or whatever.
Yeah, for anything else, we've got mother, father, spouse, grandmother, grandfather, sibling, friend, and then I've just got a category other.
Cool.
Yeah, so if it's something outside of that, which is going to be very rare, I can't even remember anyone who's doesn't fall under any of those categories. If it's their parole officer or something like that, you can put other and then put in brackets parole officer and then their name. So yeah, it should be
probably the only other thing I would add is their suburb, where they live.
Okay, yeah, put in a suburb in there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I don't know, do you have a section where you can just keep notes on students as well, like just a log? I sort of do that now.
Yep.
If I've had some sort of communication with them,
Yep.
And then the date of the inquiry as well.
Okay, that's automatically generated. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what we call the timestamp, and. So put the suburb of the student in there. Okay, cool, no problem. David, have you got any comments?
Yeah, Michael mentioned about the suburb. It's different here, but that would be good. So certainly for for flyer and marketing, understanding where they're coming from, the suburb would be great.
Yep, excellent. Okay, would it be better as a postcode or a suburb? Zip code, postcode.
Well, the zip code, I don't know, and maybe here in the US, the zip codes my zip code is really big. Zip code doesn't get us. Yeah.
Okay.
Suburb,
maybe we can.
suburb, town, something like that would be fine. Whatever.
Okay.
Is
All right.
mutually good.
Yeah, maybe we can put both, and you can choose anyway. Okay, cool. All right, that's great. All right, so I'll click finish there, and once I've finished it, what it does is it takes me to the student card, which you can see here, and just so you know, behind the scenes, which you'll see on the reports, is the date that they booked in. So that's here, and the idea is to kind of keep this minimal, to keep it clean and easy to use. So in the grey area here, what we've got is obviously the name, the email address, phone number, etc. And by clicking on the icon of the next to the left of the email address, that'll generate an email using, I'm using Apple Mac, so it'll generate it through the Mac Mail platform, and that would be the same for a second email address there as well. Okay, so yeah, so we've got all the basic details there. These are the main things you're going to need when you're contacting a student. Again, you've got that place to put a photo, so if you put a photo in there, their photo would appear there, and to delete it, all you do is to click on it and then click delete, and it takes it away. Now, Michael, you mentioned about notes. You can see down below here, you can add as many notes as you like, and so you can even choose who the staff member is that put the note here. So, if this was Ryan doing it, then you can change the priority there as well of how important the note is, and then you can put in note, and then bang, so that's there, and then again you can make as many notes as you want. It automatically timestamps it. Is that okay, Michael? Does that look like what you're looking for?
Yeah, definitely. So when you say if you have like 10 entries there, speaking to an inquiry, can you order it by the most recent?
Yep.
As well. Is that what that does?
Exactly. Yeah. So what'll happen is if I go and put in here, let me just put in say A here, and change it to B, and this will work for all the categories. We've got all the same date here, so obviously we can't. It's not going to do anything because it's all the same date. But you can see by clicking. Hang on here. Maybe that hasn't been set up yet. I'll just check in a minute. Okay, so yeah, they haven't been done there yet. So yeah, so we need to get those. I'll just put that down. Sort notes. That'll be easy enough. Okay, and this is good. This is why I'm sort of going through with you guys, so I can get the idea of what needs to be fixed. So if we look down the bottom here too, you can see the little black icon there. If you click on that, you can actually see all the notes produced for all the students. So the idea there is, and again we'll get those sorted in order, but the idea here is that you can look up all the notes that you've got on students, because the idea of the notes, just so you know, is that you don't want them sitting here. These are kind of like to-dos as well. So you want them sorted. You want something done with them. We could make another section for permanent comments on if you want to keep permanent comments on a student. I think we need that as well. I realised that before. Let me just say that. So you might have something there like the student has Asperger's or something like that you want permanently on their notes, whereas these notes are more like running notes on. I need to do this for the student. I need to do that. Kind of like a to-do for the student. Okay, so now over to the right side here is the booking details. So the first thing you do, obviously, when you get an inquiry is you want to get their name and details and find out, and basically make a card for them. You can't do anything with that student until you've made a card. And in this section here, to the right, is where you're going to actually do all the booking side of it. So if they're just an inquiry, you can see the status automatically starts as an inquiry, and so to change that, you're going to have to click on that again. And it's a shame you can't see these drop-down lists, but basically what it's doing is it's giving me a drop-down list of different things. So the second option there is interested. Then they go to prospect. If they buy a gift certificate, they go to gift certificate, and then we go to these categories which are booked, intro, and current. Now the difference between the three of those is booked just means that they've booked in for the lesson but they have not paid. Whereas intro means they've booked in for their intro but they have paid, and a current is a student who has gone to the group. So they've finished the intro and they've paid. Now they're on the group payment, monthly payment. So now, if you are on inquiry and you say to the student, okay, let's have, they say, okay, I want to book in, and you then go to the timetable. You say, okay, well, let's look at some times. So you click here on the timetable, and what happens is that this is the layout of the timetable. And along the top here, I've got two studios set up. So if you've got two rooms happening, then you can have Studio 1, Studio 2. And the idea is that, for instance, let me go through this with you, Michael, pretending that you're booking in.
Yep.
So can you tell me what days are good for you for a lesson?
Usually Tuesday and Wednesday are good.
Okay, all right. So let's have a look at Tuesday, see what's available. Now, by clicking on the green section, just so you understand these three sections, the white, the green, and the orange, the white is everything. So it'll just basically show you all of Tuesday. It'll show you available times and booked times. So everything on a Tuesday in that studio. If I go to the other Studio 2 and click the white, it'll give me Studio 2 all the times. And you can see it over here, it's got 2 down there. So you've got those two different studios. So we go here to Studio 1, we've got all the times. But the green is just for available times. So it won't show me times that are booked, I'll only get times that are available. And so what happens here is that I will say to you, okay, so I've got all my Tuesday times there, and that you can see that I've got like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m. And obviously, you might, but most people aren't going to teach at that time of morning. So what you can do with those, you can hide them. So you might say, okay, I'm going to hide the 6:30, 7 times. And then what happens is when you click on that green, they're no longer appearing there. So this way you only have the times that you're actually available to teach appearing on your timetable. You're never going to have the hide appearing there unless you specifically go over here to where we've got a hidden tab, and then you can show up all the hidden times. So you might want to say, okay, we are going to start on Mondays at 9 a.m. from now on, so I'm going to add that back in, and you click that yes, and that becomes back onto the timetable. So yeah, so far so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So here we are on Tuesday, and we've got just the times, because obviously when you're looking for times, you don't want to have lots of times that in there that you don't use. So the idea is you filter out the times you don't want by hiding them, and then that you also, by hitting the green, you're only showing the times that are available, and you're filtering out the times that are booked. So if I go to, say, here Monday, you can see that it only shows the times that are actually booked, where there's a student booked in. If I go to the green, it only shows me times that are available, and that's what I want. I want that quick, easy way of getting to it. So here I'm going for the available times on Tuesday, and so Michael, if I say to you, all right, we have times basically from about 1 o'clock through into the evening. What time roughly would suit you? Afternoon, evening?
Let's go with 6 p.m.
Around 6 sometime. Okay, so I look here and I can see 6 is available. If 6 wasn't available, I would say to you, 6:30 or whatever's available there. So I go, all right, no problem. Now I come over to here to book you in, and the problem is here you can see you're not on the list. I can't find you there, so therefore I can't book you in. I can't give you that time. So the reason that I can't do that is because when we're back on the contacts here, as an inquiry, you will not show up on the timetable. So that means that list will only show people who are either booked, intro, or current. So what we have to do is click on booked so that you do appear on that list. So now if I go back to the timetable and I go back to that time, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Here, and I now click on there, you should now appear. There you are. Okay, I know you can't see the list, but basically there's when I click on that, the drop-down list on the actual thing, there's a list of all the people there. So if I wanted to change that to David, you can see it changes to David there. So what I might do here, I'm going to do a quick screenshot. So I don't know the chat here. Not sure if it'll do that. If it'll let me put a picture there. Not to worry. All right. So yeah, just for now, you can just imagine it. So what we've got there is that you can see that to the left here. So I'll just change that back to Michael. You can see to the left there now we've got that icon appear, the black one. I'll just work with you, Michael, on this one, just so I'm engaging with someone, just so that I know you're getting it. And if the other guy, if either of you know, Chris or David, you don't understand, just let me know. So Michael, does that make sense? Seeing you can see the icon to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I click on that, that just takes me straight to the card. So straight back to you there. So now what I do is that each time that to the left of your name is this icon, which is the timetable, and what that'll do is just take me only to you on the timetable. So it'll only show me any records of you. So that's where you are. I know you're at 6 o'clock on the Tuesday there, and I can say as a level that you're an intro. I can put that there, and I know who your teacher is. And generally, you'll have your teacher populated because this is your teacher shift anyway. Let's say this is Ryan's shift. We know that he's in there, so that makes that easy. And you can do things like tags. So if you want to sort students in particular ways, maybe you want all your students who like a particular band are all Bs. So you tag them with a B, which makes them easy to find if you want to run a workshop or something like that. But I'll explain that more later. So now that's all set up. So now we can go back to your card, and in here, there's no way, just so you understand, of connecting the timetable to this here, which is what goes on to their booking, and that's okay because all you need to do is do this once, and that's when they first book in. So what you're doing is you're going, okay. So if we go back to Michael and timetable, we can see that he's on the Tuesday at 6 p.m. And then if I go here to intro start date, then I can go, okay, he's going to start next Tuesday on the 24th, which means his intro ends on the 22nd of December. And then I can put the time in here of 6 p.m. And then it's got the intro and the payment. You can change that if you like to whatever amount you want, if you want to set a different price for the intro. And then you can even put the teacher here, Ryan. So that's the booking details. So we've got all that information now. But before I go on, are we good, Michael? Is that all? Following all that?
Yeah, there might be a reason why, but in my head I'm just thinking, if you put someone on the timetable, is there a way for that information on the contacts card to be automatically updated, say the date, so if you put them in at 6 p.m. on the timetable, that's the date that appears on the contacts card.
Yeah, that unfortunately it can't be done, and I'll explain why. If one person gets one time, it's possible. But the problem is that the way that this works, and I'll just show you, I'll go back to the timetable, is that this time here on the timetable in the class can't be actually linked to these names. And the reason is that name you could appear multiple times on the timetable. It's possible. I mean, we need that flexibility. So yeah, and it's something you only need to do once at the intro anyway. So it's not something that you have to keep updating. Now, so we've got that there, and then what we do here is that we've got a confirmation icon, and if I click on the confirmation icon, it creates an email for me that can be sent straight to the student, and this should have all the details populated based on the booking. So where you put in the date, the time, and even says when the intro ends, who their teacher is. I put the age there, but I think we'll take that out because they know how old they are. We don't need to tell them how old they are. And then there's one section here where you can actually type in any comments that you want to put there. So you might want to say, please remember, remember whatever. Okay, so that then will appear. as a comment, and you can see if I just take that out, when that's not there, the comments bit disappears. So when I type something in there, it'll say comments, but when there's nothing there, that disappears. Then it's got a map here, and what happens is that you guys can put your own maps in, so it'll be based on your location, and I'll show you that in a minute how you do all that. But basically, this email is for Joachim in Paddington, and it's got all his. So now what happens is that if I click on there's a PDF here in the corner. If I click on that, it'll create a PDF with all that information. If I click on the email icon, it'll actually create an email with a little message saying, thank you for enrolling. Please find a PDF attached with all the details. And then once you click that, the email automatically sets up, and then you just got to press send. And that way, it's all done for you. You don't have to worry about cutting and pasting and doing all that sort of stuff. Now, it was raised once before, can we do it so it populates straight into an email? The answer is no with this program, unfortunately. The idea is that you just attach the PDF. And what most people have who are using anything like Gmail or any of that, the PDFs appear straight in the email anyway, so it's all pretty easy, and they can read it straight off the email, so it shouldn't be a problem. Any questions?
Doesn't that in Gmail it does, doesn't it depend on the email program they've got they're receiving by? If they've got MSN or Yahoo or something, I'm not sure it's the same.
It does, it varies, but most of them are pretty up to date now, where they'll read a PDF. It's very few people don't have the ability to open a PDF now automatically on their computers. And even if they do, they'll just email you back and go, I couldn't open the PDF, and yeah, you just have to tell them what the details are. You can always do a screenshot of it and then attach that as a picture as well. But anyone who's not doesn't have PDF ability on their email service, they either need to seriously upgrade their service, or there may be a firewall or something on their computer. I haven't found it a problem. Everyone that I email these days seems to be able to read PDFs without a problem. So. Okay, cool. So that's that. The links are also clickable. So within the PDF, they'll be able to click those links if they want to go, for instance, to see the policies. And so what is on your website, you have your own policy page, and then they can click on that link and go and have a look at your policies. Now, okay, so any questions so far? Is it all pretty good?
So the allocation of a new student to the times when you go and look for the available times, it's predicated on setting up the intro lesson, not putting someone into a group, because as soon as you put one person there, it becomes not available on the calendar.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, so if we go to the timetable and say, look here on Monday, available times, then it's only available. So if we just go back and have a look at Michael, for instance, you'll see Michael now appears here. And what happens is that when I put a new person on the timetable, so I go here and I add somebody, David here, did you see that it automatically turned to no over to the left? Yeah. So that automatically takes that off as an available time. So whenever I add someone into that first row, it'll automatically remove them from available times. So you don't have to do anything there. And the whole process, what I'm trying to do with it is make it as automated as possible. So there's very few things for you to have to think about and make mistakes on. There's a few things that are impossible to do, but that I would like it to do. But that's unfortunately the limitations of certain things. But here you can see, just so you can see that this line, say Tuesday at 8:30, has got 7 slots there at the moment. You could extend that. You could have as many as you wanted, really. But at the moment, there are 7 slots available. We work on 5 in a group, but having 2 extra slots there gives you that availability. And on every one of those slots will only be the students who are either booked, intro, or paid, or as current students. So you're not going to have this. So this list won't end up having you know, all your past students on it or inquiries. It's only people who are actually booking in. And as each one appears, so if I go here and I put another person in this column here, you can see again that appears. And if I click on that where it says Frank Zappa, I click on Frank's little icon, it takes me straight to Frank. And that's the main thing that I was looking for out of this program. That's why, yeah, it's one of those things over the years that's frustrated me, is that we have a timetable and then we have a database, but the two aren't linked. And now this is linking it all up, and this is really what the beauty of it is that it brings everything together, makes it very easy for you to look at your timetable and find your student details at the same time. So if you're on the timetable, which is where you're probably going to spend a lot of your time, here, and you say, okay, let me have a look at Monday's schedule. Got David Minns in here at Monday 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'll just click on David there. I just want to send him a quick email. Email is not here, so then I can go to edit and put David's email in here. I'm just going to put mine in for the sake of the exercise. And finish there. And then here I go. I want to just click on there. It opens an email, and then I can send David an email. So it makes it really easy to be on the timetable and to be finding contact details for each of your students. And so this is the core of the database, and once we've got this information, then working from this point becomes much easier. So for instance, if I want to create a certificate for David, and he's so what I need to do is choose what type of student he is, whether he's a junior, a senior, or a young beginner. And based on what you see, if I click on junior there, the levels, I get 7 levels there. If I click on senior, then I only get 5 levels. So it actually works out. If I click on young beginner, there's only 2 levels there. Okay, so the idea is that, okay, David's a senior. He's level 2. He's just finished his level 2. So now I go to certificate, and I click on certificate, and there. Oops, just got to put here. That's not worked out yet. I've got to fix that. And there we've got a senior 2 certificate for David, and I can just print it, or I can email it. I can print it and email it. I can basically print it again as a PDF, or I can send it. So when I hit that one, it'll actually create an email with his email address, attach it to that email, and he will receive it within whatever. So far, so good? Yep. Okay, cool. So the idea there is that you're going to be able to easily create certificates for your students, and as we create other types of, there might be like awards, achievement awards and all those sort of things, you're not going to have to go and be typing in all the time. It's just you just go to that student, and then you choose what it is you want to give them. You can even change the teacher here that's on it, etc. Okay, so again, that's a real time saver. Just an example here. Let's say David's just signed up and he wants a gift certificate. Again, I just click on there and it creates a gift certificate. But what you can also do with the gift certificate is decide what picture you want in there. I should have had a picture ready, but let me just find something quickly. Just find the right kind of picture. And so, for example, you can just pull in whatever photo you want in there to create whatever kind of design that you want. And then on the right-hand side here, you've got the date, and the idea of the date is the expiry date. So you sort of say, okay, well, the gift certificate is only valid until 29th of January. So that makes that easy. Are we getting excited, guys? Is this something that's going?
This is going to save so much time.
It's good. It's good. It's gonna. Yeah. It's really. I mean, the idea is that this is just the beginning. As we build this out more and more, it's just going to get better and better. And things like creating all your marketing material, it will be able to build all that into it as well. So if you change your phone number or update your email address or create a new location even, you can just bang, it's all there. It's all ready to go. It's not something that you have to, it has to be all made up again for each time. So if we go to, I'll just go into the account section, and this is where you put in your details. So for instance, you can see here where I've got all this. So let me just go up here. Michael, what's your address?
It's Suite 6, stroke 136, the Parade, Norwood.
The Parade, right, okay. Right, so Norwood. Okay. And you've got the countries here if you want to change to whatever country. Your postcode, Michael?
5067.
I won't go and change all of them, but you can see that here, we can even automate that as well. But you can see, yeah, we can put in all the details here. Now, for the guys in the UK, we can come down here and we can actually change the symbol so they get pounds instead of dollars, and you can, your email closing, what you want to put on there, sincerely yours or whatever you want to put, you can change that. You can, daily average value, just so you know, is what your average student is worth per day, and I can, based on $99, it's $3.30 a day is what they're worth, and this is going to help you with your reports to work out the value of each student, but you can change that value if you charge more. And then you can also put in a tax number there if you want to put your tax file, your ABN, or I'm not sure, whatever the other guys use in UK and the US. And then there's the studio names, so you can you can create a name for each of your studios. You see I've got front and back room there, and that, if you remember on the timetable, I've got here front and back room, so I can actually label those. One could be called the green room and the other one the red room, or something, whatever you want to name them. So yeah, so you can easily update all your details there. The map here, that's just a screenshot taken from Google Maps, and you can just screenshot your own one and drag it in there. That way I'll actually print a map on their email, on their PDF, and whenever you do change these details, you've got to click update, so it updates all the details. And from there, when we go back to that contacts and we produce an email, confirmation email here, you can see now the address is Michael's address at the top there. So that's kind of the main part. Now, the other part, which is under development, are the reports. And the idea here within the reports is that you'll be able to do, work out where your students are coming from. In other words, you can see here directory paid, Facebook ads, flyers, etc. So you can do a quick overview, a summary of where all the inquiries have come from, and this is all under construction, this part. But things like here, the inquiries, I can go here and I can look at basically my inquiries. And the idea here is that you want to just be here and say, okay, who's inquired, who's interested, I don't have anyone under there, and who's a prospect, I don't have anyone under there. So the idea is that you want to sit down and go, all right, need some more students, let me look at the inquiries, who hasn't followed up. And the idea, the difference between inquiry, interested, and prospect is just the level of interest that they're at. So an inquiry is someone is just somebody who's maybe left their phone number, and that's all you know. You haven't really done anything with them. Interested is someone you've spoken to, they've showed some interest, they said, look, I'll get back to you, thanks for the help, blah, blah, blah. Whereas a prospect is someone that says, I'm definitely going to book in by this time next week, just leave it with me and I'll get back to you. So you can create in your own mind what those categories mean. And the idea obviously is that you want to go to prospects first, because they're the ones who are most likely to book in, followed by interested. And so you can see here that I've got those categories. And that keeps you following up on your inquiries. It keeps your inquiries organised.
David?
Yep.
Question. In terms of this inquiries thing, is there a way to, when a student chooses to leave, is there a way to have a status of like old students? So if you're building a mailing list.
Yep. Yep. You can have, basically you've got a past list as well.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what will happen is that when you, if I go back to contacts on here, if you're finished, then I can change you to past.
Got it.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and then that creates a pass list. So yeah, you can also put on hold for students who go on hold. You can also have a not interested category there. So for people who you talk on an inquiry, they just go, look, I'm not interested, don't call me again, etc., etc. So yeah, you just put them onto the non-interested list, which kind of gets them out of the way, really. That's what that's about. And the only other one I've got there is office use, and that might be for something special that you do. I haven't even really thought about that at the moment, but I just put it there as a standard kind of thing. Okay, cool. So yeah, so the idea there is, yeah, you manage your inquiries. You want them all you want to be able to be following up on inquiries and have it sorted and organized, and this is the way to do it. And so, you know, if you've got an inquiry here, let's say, you know, sure. Okay, I need a few more things in here, but let's say we've got this, you know, we've got Chris here who's a prospect, and what I can do is click on Chris, and then I can go in and I can leave notes again about his inquiry and what's going on there. So, all right, and the last thing I'll do here is we've got things like here, ROI, which is return on investment, and basically what's happening under this category is that we're seeing how much a student is worth in value. So for instance, here on the intro date, when a student starts, he hasn't actually got a starting date, but if I put in here, let's just say Chris started back on the 1st of July, and that means he's been coming for 140 days, and he's worth an average of $3.30. I'll just change it to dollars so we can come back, because I know we're working in dollars, Michael. So I'll go to accounts here, I'll go to dollars, change that, update it, and go back to reports, ROI. And so you can see here they've got $462, and so it means he's been enrolled for 140 days and yeah, $3.30 average per day. So he's so far worth $462. But let's say he dropped out, you know, back in September, and so we know he was with 62 days. His value, therefore, is only $205. It automatically works out the value, and that way you can actually do a report on what each student is worth, what your average student is worth, and get a real feel for you know, what you're getting in terms of what you're spending. You can also look at, you know, you can break it down into where they came from. In other words, these guys came from Facebook ads, so you can go, okay, well, I've got a return of $248 from these guys. That's total up the top there, and it's, you know, and I've spent $100 in Facebook ads, therefore I've got a bit of a $148 return. And so that really helps you to do your maths on, yeah, what students are worth. And again, we're going to really populate that, fill that out. There will be a lot more categories, a lot more reports, a lot more in-depth report without overdoing it, because I don't think there's a point, I think, where you overdo it. We want to just really work on what's important and keep you on track. So is that all pretty good, Michael? Makes sense?
Yeah, making sense. I have a couple of questions though regarding template emails. So you've got the confirmation template. Can you create different ones as well?
Yeah. So what'll happen is that if we go to that email, let's go back here. So this confirmation email, you can see here that this is kind of laid out in this particular way. But what will happen is that we can just create it so that there's actually very little information there, and there's just this empty thing here, and then you can we can actually have a drop-down list here, the same as, you know, you do with a name or whatever. So if I go back to here, where you can change details on a particular student, say here we've got teacher, so put in my name there. This could easily say email, and so it could be full email. And so when you go to the email, then it's populated with that email. You can see it's put in my name as teacher. So you could have different categories of creating email. It's kind of unlimited, but it's just a matter of working out what we need and to keep developing it.
So I'm thinking for, like, you know, sending it after their 5-week intro to book in for the, you know, the group. You know, if you do a performance night, or, you know, things like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to be able to have the different email formats at the click of a button. That's really
And even in the meantime, like how if you're using something like MailChimp, for instance, how exportable is the data, like the email addresses and the names associated?
From here to MailChimp?
Yeah.
Yep. Basically, what you can do here is that you'll be able to go to your list. So here's the list of students, and you can, you'll be able to show all the students if you like, and then you can even categorize them in whatever you want. So if you want past students, as an example, there's a little button here that you click, and then there's a drop-down list, which again you might be able to see, but I can choose just to see all the current students, and so it'll just show me the current students. And then I can export that list. If you want to export it to, you'll have an export option, and so you'll be able to create a CSV file, which you can then import into to MailChimp. You can even set the date range. So if you just only want the students who inquired in the last 30 days, for instance, you can choose that. So you've got these different options to choose what it is you want. I mean, you can obviously sort once you've got it to a CSV as well, if you want to do more sorting. But also what you can do here, so again, if I go to that current list, say, okay, choose all the current students, and I just want to send them an email newsletter, I can click email all up the top here, and that'll email those people on my list. But I'm not using MailChimp, I'm just going through my own mail service, which on here is Apple Mail.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, in the end, we probably won't need MailChimp once we have all of the email templates in the system. It's not just going to be easier to go through this system.
Yeah, MailChimp and Aweber and things like that will really just be for automatic email, like autoresponders. This is not an autoresponder, so you'll still use it, but you won't use it in the sense of communicating with your students. It'll be more about you can have autoresponders on there and still send out offers and things to people on your list through MailChimp, because it does work well like that. But as far as you're communicating with your current students and even following up on groups of students, so if you've got a bunch of inquiries here, say people have inquired in the last 30 days, you might send them out a quick email saying, hi, Michael here, just want to touch base with you and see if you're still interested in learning guitar. And you can do that from here very easily.
Yeah, good. Probably the last thing I was thinking was with the timetable, tracking fees that are due. I guess you do that on their contact card. So say someone's paid for the intro, they've joined a group, but haven't paid yet. How do you track that on the timetable? Okay,
so you can do it. You can do it on the timetable. There are two ways to do it, and one is that you've got this payments due here, so you can go here, and this actually shows you the intro end, which I've also put in brackets as due. Doesn't necessarily. I mean, that really should be the only time they're due to pay, but it could also be the people who are booked, but people who are booked are due automatically anyway. These people here are booked, they haven't paid. So we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people there who are actually, maybe need a reminder or follow-up. And you can see here that if it's black, it means that they haven't reached their first lesson yet. That's their intro in. But anybody who's booked, you basically will have that normal standard thing of 48 hours they should have paid, and if they haven't paid within 48 hours, and all I would do is check this each day. I would go, all right, this guy booked, and hasn't paid, Let me check what's going on. So that's one way, but the other way is on the timetable, you can include in the due column here the actual due date. So where, let's just say, for instance, I'll go back to the card that we made for you. So just so you understand here, the search facility here, up here I can search Michael. If there's several Michaels, I can put in Michael Essery, or I can just bring up all the Michaels and then go through and look for you. Because there's this list as well, I can go through here and find all the Michaels on this list, and then I just click on there and it takes me back to your card. So on here, let's just say you're starting on the 24th of November. So and you haven't paid your fees yet. So you're just booked. So I know that your fees are actually due on the 24th of November. Or I might want to make it earlier. So what I do is I go to you on the timetable by clicking there, and then I go here and go, okay, he booked in on the 18th. He's got 48 hours to pay. Therefore, he's due on the 20th. And so therefore, it puts in a due date for you to pay. And now what I can do is go to due dates here, and it shows me all the due dates based on the timetable. And it's a kind of a manual thing. It's not automatically working that one out, but it's a way of you to put in a date there for something that needs to be done. It could be for anything, not just due for fees. Maybe you need to speak to them. Maybe there's something else that's due. But ideally, it's for saying, well, this person's due to pay. And by clicking on due dates up here on the right, it'll just show you all the students who are due. And if they're red, they're overdue. If they're orange, it means they're due this week. If they're black, it means they're not due yet, but they're coming up due on that date.
Yep.
All right.
So for long-term students, I mean, I have what I do now for students who are on PayPal subscriptions is so on my current student sheet, I have the date that their fees are going to be coming up.
Yep.
And then once a week, I just get my emails from PayPal and go, which ones have I received, and then just update the date for each one. Is there a way to do that with the system as well? Okay, so reconciling is what you're talking about. So each month you go through and you reconcile against your accounts here. You can do that. Basically, let me just make a note of that. But yeah, what you can do, and I've got it on my system. That's exactly what I do. And let me just go here for a sec. So you can go to a list of the students, and where there's this follow-up column here, I can easily put in another one here, and that's probably what I'll do, called reconcile. And so what you do is, if this person pays on the 18th of every month, you can put in the 18th there, and then once they've paid, you can then go, okay, they've paid this month, so then I move them to next month. Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, cool. All the bells that was good. Sorry? All the bells and whistles. Look, it's already awesome, but it's just going to get better and better. And the idea is, see, what I want it to do is be able for you to build another business, build a second school, a third school, etc., very easily. So you're not having to, because you know the biggest drawback from opening more schools for most teachers is the work. They know the work that's involved. So, oh no, I've got enough to do already. So we've got to make it simple and easy. And this has got to be easy enough for you to stick, a 6-year-old kid on it and be able to work it. That's what we want. And Mia's already been my tester on it, and she has no problem using it. So I think we're on the right track. And so the next step will be in order to roll it out, is you have to get a copy of FileMaker, which I'll be able to do that. You can actually get a free 30-day trial, which you can download and use. And then once you've got that, I can link you into a copy of this so that then you can have a play with it. And that will allow you for 30 days. Now, as far as the FileMaker, the actual program, I've got, and I'm obviously going to buy multiple licenses because it's cheaper.
and that way what you guys will do is, because it has to be hosted as well. So for every person who hooks in and uses this, it needs a hosting. So there'll just be a small fee that you'll pay every month as a G4 member. I'm also, just so you know, I'm creating a version that anyone can use, but they will pay a different price. And G4 members will basically get it at a lower price.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
What you were saying before about, like, well, I'm thinking if the server is down at some point, that obviously leaves things in the lurch if that's the only system we're using. So yeah, what's the plan B for that, I guess?
Okay, good question. What'll happen is that it does backup. So it does, at the moment, it does daily backups. So every file will be backed up daily. So if the server goes down, I've still got backups of it, and all that'll happen is that I will send you pretty well straight away, as soon as I can, a copy of your timetable and everything. So you'll work off it manually until the server's back up. And in these cases, we hope the server is not going to be down, and we'll also have a B plan where we have a second server if need be that we'll transfer to get it back up and running. And this is why we need to do it properly and test properly before we sort of roll it out. And even when you first start using it, it'll be a case of make sure that you're prepared for it to go down until we can't. It's the same with most things online. The PayPal went down a couple of weeks ago and nobody could access it, and just things like that. It'll happen on occasion, but hopefully we'll be able to have enough backup that it won't be a problem.
Yeah. No, it looks really good. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about not having to cut and paste things all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time wasted, and I think just the potential of it is exciting. The things that we can do to it each time. I have. I'll just stop this share for a minute. But have I given you an update of the marketing materials yet?
I don't think so. You mean the flyers and everything? Or?
Yeah, we've got the new ones, which I've only just done it in the last week or so, and I haven't really announced it yet because I was still working on it. So, but I'll just give you an example. Let me share again. Okay, where are we here? You'll see, this will give you, an idea of what I've done here with mine. So here I go to the flyers, and you've got in here each of these. What we've got is, for instance, the first one here. You can see that this is Buoy, but if I go into the franchisees here and I choose you in Norwood, click on here, and then go to those flyers again, then it's changed to Norwood here, but it's changed all of them to Norwood. So yeah, so it's got all your details, and so I've got all this marketing material that I can send you in one easy hit, and I'll do it right now. And what that's done is created a PDF, and it's quite a big PDF because there's a lot on there. But the idea is that, yeah, if I just go back to here, I can keep adding to this. And these are things like, Facebook cover, Twitter cover. This is a flyer for getting walkers with the pull-off tabs. There's even a cover there for your G4 method, so it's got your actual location on the front, so you can print that out, put it on all your folders, and then these are like A-frame signs with arrows in different directions, and then I've got signage templates which can be used to make banners, different types of banners, a car one, and a few other things there. So yeah, so you can see it's it makes my life easy now. But I'll be able to also install this into yours so that you can print it out as well. So if you don't have to come through me to get it, that'll be a little bit later, but that's basically the idea. All right, so we'll just stop the share, and so yeah, so that's it. We've moved into the new millennium. We're here.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. Yeah, can't really think of anything else that it needs to do. You know, it's just going to be yeah, such a good time saver.
Yeah, it's going to make it easy. You know, and you'll be able to, you know, once you get using it, you obviously come up with ideas and things that we can do to populate it. And one other thing that I'm going to throw in here is that I want you guys to also be able to look at it as something that you can on-sell as a product, because it's the way to go. So we've got something here that's taken a long time. This has taken about 8 or 9 months now. Just to get to this point, because a lot of coding that had to happen behind the scenes. Admittedly, someone who was an advanced coder could have probably done it in a fraction of the time, but I needed to learn the coding to do it. But now that I know it, I can do it a lot easier. But it's one of those things where this is useful for any classroom. I don't know, you know, I know a lot of teachers that operate and they don't use this kind of sophistication of software. And you can see the big difference here to like there's a lot of websites. You might have seen things like, you know, Music Teacher's Helper and things like that, right? There's these software applications, but number one, they are quite limited in what they can do. They don't have, you know, templates and all that sort of thing for printing certificates. But secondly is that they're run on the internet, and the problem with that is that it's slow. Can you see how quickly I move through screens? It's instant. And that's because it's not running on the internet. It's what they call remote. In other words, it's connecting to the internet, but the processes are not happening on the internet. It's a bit like running an Excel sheet that's on your computer compared to running a Google Doc. You know, Google Doc can be slow sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's actually worse than that when you're working with large amounts of data. It can be really slow online. If you start to get a bit of data built up, yeah, it really slows down the system. So in this case, what's happening is that it's on your computer. It runs the remote connection, so it just basically copies everything up onto the remote. But it's also live. So if you've got 2 people working on the same program, the same file, it will update automatically, and it'll usually do it within a couple of seconds. But they're the same speed as the internet would anyway. And that way, yeah, someone else can be working on it and looking at it. There is a cost for each connection, by the way. So the more people you have using it, the more you got to pay. So just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I mean, I know even with Google Sheets and everything, that gets slow sometimes. If I don't have a really good internet connection, I can be sitting there waiting for my timetable to load up, and you know, it's painful. But one thing I just thought of too, when you have teachers and you don't want them to see the whole thing, you just want to see the timetable. Do they have restricted access to it as well? Is that the way it works?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You can have. Well, basically, there is a couple of things you can do. One is you have admin settings, so you basically set privileges. So who can see what? So what they do is that when they log in, their password login will only allow them to see whatever you choose for them to see. So restricted access. But the other thing you can also do is, and this is not, it could be for your teachers, I guess, but part of what, and I didn't go into it, and I'll do it another time, but you can click on the timetable for those available times, and then you can print that out and send it off as a PDF to a student to say these are the available times, or you could print it off and send it to a teacher saying this is your timetable today.
Right.
So it makes it very easy to print it off. So if you don't even want them to have access to your timetable, and you printed it, then you can do that as well. So.
Yeah, that's good too. Yeah. Looks really good.
All right, I better sign off. So good talking to you, Michael. And next week I'll let you ask some questions.
Yeah, no worries. That was good.
All right, thanks, Michael. See you.
Bye.